So one of the other preparation tasks that we've been doing is to raise our chicken chute and make sure it's not tangled and we can deploy it, and we're doing the same with the Jenica now, because we think these are cells we're going to be using on our passage when we depart Thailand for the Maldives. And there is the Jenica flying. We've got it up. The trick is getting it down. The last sail to test is our new, slightly larger than usual Genoa on a broad reach. It's all looking good. So it's the 4th of December, and we decided to take a sail up the west coast based on the weather forecast of sunny skies and light breezes, but as you can see, it's far from sunny. It's raining. In fact, it's been pouring. Sea state not so good, but we're hoping to get shelter in Patong. So we'll see. So this is us continuing north. This is Patong Bay, just before Patong. Patong is around the headland, so we're going around. But it's looking decidedly rougher than we expected from the forecast, so we'll see if we're going to stay or not. So that's around that headland in the distance. We've got winds out of the east. That's a high wind speed of 25 knots. It's going to be set up. Definitely not what was forecast of blue skies again, which is excellent. Forecast sunny skies and light variable winds. So we decided not to even continue on to Patong Bay with 25 to 30 knots of wind. Sea state all over the place. It's not going to be a good anchorage no matter what. And continue further north is just more of the same. So we are going back to Shillong Bay, and I guess that's where we'll stay until we know whether we can get west. Of course, it didn't help as we were coming in, and all the dock handlers were taking the lines, or throwing us the lines. There was a swarm of bees that decided to attack, and Roy, unfortunately, was the one to get stung. He's got a very sore leg at the moment, and he's still going around with his spray, killing bees. So here's the trailer that's coming in. Look carefully, you can see these cross beams that sort of hold it on. Quite a compact one. And we're going to move forward towards it. They're now pulling us forward over the trailer. Okay, we've been lifted now. We've positioned the trailer. It's done very slowly, very gradual, hardly noticeable. So I think the trailer's taken our weight out of the water. We're starting to move. Of where we've just come out of, the slip, and on the trailer. So we're not altogether sure where they're leaving us for the night, but we've got the night to get our sail drives redone, the propellers redone, And while we're out, we've got some help to put another few coats of the anti-fouling on the hulls. So we've got a busy number of hours ahead of us. We'll be working into the night, I'm sure. They're reversing us back into the spot here that we can have water and electricity. They're going to do the light spray to get all the muck off, and we'll give it a very, very light, not even a sand, just a scrub. We'll be good to go. So they're just finishing off the pressure washing, and it's time for us to get stuck into work. We've got a busy few hours ahead of us for sure. And the marina is actually very busy with tourists coming and going. I guess it's that time of the year, coming up to Christmas. It's the start of the Christmas week. These ferries go over to the resorts that are in Fungi Bay. So this is their main pick-up and drop-off point. This ferry is actually heading out to Santia Resort, where we were anchored the last few days. Very nice resort.
Here we are busy putting the finishing touches to the anti-fouling, and these guys are getting ready to lift the boat so that we can put a bit of paint under the keels. As they lift the boat under the hulls, they put additional supports underneath the bridge deck. You can see these big blocks of polystyrene there.
So 24 hours later, we've managed to get everything done. Pawpaw's been put back on the trailer so that we can launch. But as you can see, very busy launch area right now. Lots of yachts, busy boatyard. We were lucky to get this done. And so after a very hectic, busy, exhausting 24 hours, we got everything done. The sail drives have been redone, the props have been redone, and 2 more layers of anti-fouling on the hulls, and some extra on the waterline, a few other wear points. So we're done. 24 hours later, here we are going back into the water. Okay, so we're in the water. The dock handlers are holding the lines, and they're just dismantling the trailer from underneath us. So we should be ready to go shortly. And there goes the trailer. We're back in the water. We're just putting the deck sensor back in, and I think we'll be good to go. There it goes. Thank you, Program Marina, for great service. Can't believe we got everything done in the 24 hours. One major project out of the way. It should never have had to be done. It wasn't for the mess that was made at Boat Lagoon Marina. Anyway, all sorted now. Just more money that was spent. So we're into the final preparations and just testing our high volume pump. Make sure everything works. And there we go. So this is another preparation task for our departure. Checking the rigging, but also replacing our radar reflector. So I've hoisted Roy up the mast. He's now replacing the radar reflector, and he's also cleaning and lubricating the rigging, checking it as he goes. So this is one of our last of the larger tasks to complete before our departure, and we're redoing the line around the trampoline. Parts of it had definitely weathered, but some of it, which we replaced not that long ago, is still okay. So this is just the final touches now. So today is the 2nd of January, and we started our provisioning, and we thought we had come up with a wonderful plan to use the Phuket Yacht Club's dinghy dock, but we've got back now and realized it's actually tide dependent, and our dinghy sits in the mud for the next 3 hours before we can actually load it up and head back to Pawpaw who's way over on the other side of the bay. A bit of a faux pas on our part on that one, but anyway, so be it. We'll just sit down and have a few sundowners.
On a blanket with my baby, that's where I'll be. Under the boardwalk, under the boardwalk, we'll be having some fun. Don't care for music to you. Well, it goes like this before the fair, the microphone, the angel in the barefoot king composing harmony.
And so the final preparations have started. So our first round of provisioning we got yesterday, and Roy is starting the dinghy to do the runs to fill the jerry cans. And there's the first load. I'll undo that, yeah, and off he goes. We'll be doing about 6 of these runs today to get everything filled up. So another task we undertake before a passage is cooking a number of our meals ahead of time. So Roy was up early this morning to cook 2 of the dishes, which is a chicken vegetable soup and a beef curry. And that normally goes over two days, 2 dinners. And then Elaine is busy cooking a spaghetti bolognese sauce. And as I pan around, there's the vegetables and the sauce that will go in once the meat is ready. And then when Roy gets back from clearing out, he's going to cook a jambalaya. So that should give us 8 to 9 meals at least. And we'll cook a tuna bake or something if we have to en route. Right, so we're getting to the end of our preparations. Pawpaw is all clean and tidy. That's all the spare diesel that we have stored and tied together, along with some more on the starboard side. All the rigging has been set up for the various sails that we think we're going to be flying. There is some more jerry cans and some spare water as well. Everything cleaned, neat and tidy at the helm station. We'll roll up the sun screens just before we set sail and remove all the covers off the winches. Up front on the foredeck, these are the guys for the chicken shoot, and we use one of them for the Jenica as well. As I pan round, there's the other one on the other side. And then the last thing we'll do just before we set sail is unzip the mainsail stack pack. We're not sure we're going to be using the mainsail, but we'll have it all ready anyway. And also up front, if you have a careful look, all our jack lines are installed. They run across the trampoline and down each side of the boat. And then we've got one across the mast. That's for Roy to clip onto. And then finally we'll put one on the stern just before we set sail. These are the chafe pipes that have been put onto our barber hauler lines, both on the starboard and port side. Additionally, we have all the emergency equipment on the lifelines. This is the port side. It has the rescue sling and a life ring, which has a parachute and whistle and a light attached to it. The life ring is duplicated on the, or replicated on the starboard side, but we also have the man overboard pole and a rescue line as well. And you can see here the jack lines running down, as well as our lifelines for the transom. They'll be rigged just before we leave. And we have all our various cruising guides, as well as our SSB guide that's marked for anything pertinent that we might forget about. We can find it easily. We've got the Red Sea Pilot and the Indian Ocean Cruising Guide as well. Then, besides having all of the bilges full with our tin stuff and jars, we also have these bins that have all our dry products that wouldn't fit in our normal storage area. So this is surplus. So this is the guest cabin, the head, and then as I pan round, you'll see the actual cabin itself. Nothing in here, no guests on board for this trip. And in the corner here we have stuff stowed that would normally be out in the cockpit, but that's all been cleared. Additionally, we have this cabin. It's the forward starboard cabin. In that container are all our spare toiletries, and as well as cushions that would normally be outside, either on the trampoline or in the cockpit as well. That's stowed for now. And as we pan round, we've got the other guest head. And behind this door is stacks of toilet paper and kitchen towel. So this is the nav station in the saloon. If I zoom in, you can see our charts or our papers that we use for our water management, planning ahead of time, and our fuel management, as well as our empty deck logs that we fill in every hour while we're underway, and also a chart that reminds us of where all our safety equipment is. Additionally, we have all our paper charts, the first one being the Maldives chart that we'll be using initially, and there's also a temperature record because we've been told to keep our temperatures en route, obviously for a COVID check when we arrive in the Maldives. And then additionally, we have a list for the grab bag of the last minute items to grab if that was ever necessary, hopefully not. Our pre-sale checklist that I go through. And then we have some additional stuff for the Red Sea in particular, which is the high-risk area contact list, also the list of all the agents from India onwards, and the procedures for the Red Sea as a reminder when we go through the corridor. And to ensure safety at sea, especially in the galley, we make sure that we've got these non-skid pads down on the counters, and that makes sure that nothing goes sliding around. Any water containers, glassware is kept in the sinks, and there's another skid pad down as well, non-skid pad as well. So I mentioned earlier the pre-sale checklist that we use, and that is to make sure that we've done everything that we need to do before we set sail, and includes things like checking all the electronic equipment, make sure it's all working, the spotlights are working, all the radios, including the handhelds, are all charged, that the yellow brick has got all its credits, the satellite phone services are up and running. And one of the last things we do then is we actually put this table down. It goes down to form a nice big bed. There's a separate cushion that gets put onto the saloon table, and this is where we sleep and hang out during our passage. So today was our day to get through the final items on the pre-sale checklist, and that includes adding the last few items to our grab bag, and also making sure everything's good with the life raft. And as you can see, we had it certified in Penang, so it's still good to go. So this is Friday the 14th of January. We set sail early tomorrow morning for the Maldives, and all our preparations are now complete. The lifelines have been put across the transom, the stern jack line has been installed, and that's on both sides. So we are ready. Well, it's Saturday the 15th of January, and we have set sail, continuing west to the Maldives, and it's goodbye to Thailand. So our first ship that we've had to avoid, communications with him, and we will go astern of him. Obviously not going to mix it up with him. So today is Monday the 17th of January. We've had 2 good days of sailing just on the Genoa, and this morning just after sunrise we set the mainsail, and as you can see we're enjoying speeds average of 8 knots, which is brilliant. Basically under clear blue skies and relatively flat seas. It's perfect sailing on a beam reach. So these are conditions. Third restaurant, sea for about a meter, 2 white caps, and we've got a wind speed of anything between 13 and 14 knots, that's perfect, and sailing along nicely, heading west. This morning we left the Nicobar Islands and the Indonesian island of Sumatra in the distance. And as you can see in the distance, our company out here are these cargo ships, all en route to and from the Suez Canal via the Gulf of Oman and India and Sri Lanka, and from there they head down the Malacca Strait, the Singapore Strait, and then on to the Far East and the Americas. So we've seen ships heading in all different directions. But this is Tuesday, the 18th of January, and this is just an idea of the number of cargo ships that are passing us at any one time. There's 4 at the moment. They're just lined up. They stay out of their way, obviously, and we've had some come in the other direction as well. And although we are motor sailing as of about 3/4 of an hour ago, because the wind has dropped, we have a beautiful full moon setting in the west, and as I came down, we have dawn breaking in the east. So it's the morning of the 20th of January. We have a beautiful sunrise, the end of Elaine's watch. And unfortunately though, we've had to motor all night. The wind's dropped to below 5 knots, so we had no choice. But we're hoping that the winds pick up this morning the way they did yesterday. And we've got to enjoy a lovely sail on Elaine's 60th birthday. So we're hoping the same thing happens today. So it's the 25th of January and we are 1 day out from our arrival in the Maldives, and the last 3 days have been really slow. We've had to motor sail due to wind and swell on the nose and cross current. So as a result, all the motoring, our extra fuel that we've had on board has been put into the tanks now, and hopefully that'll get us into Ulugamu tomorrow morning. So one of the other things we do on passage is we plot our course on the paper charts. We do this every few hours, and we keep our log every 3 hours. And as you can see, the 25th of January, we are approaching the northern end of the Maldives. So it is Wednesday, the 26th of January, and it's land ahoy. We are coming up to the northeast entrance into the atoll, and we're just motoring along really slowly so that we can have the sun higher up in order to see the reefs and the bommies as we go in. And if I zoom in, you'll see Tallulah Ruby, if you can see them in the distance, they're ahead of us. And if I zoom around, or pan around, may not be able to see it into the sunlight, is Golden Spread just behind us there, and behind them is another yacht called Morgan, a French yacht. So yeah, we're all arriving together, and land ahoy is very flat, as you can see. So this is our first up close look at the atoll, and this is the island of Ulugamu that we will be anchoring off. And there is Tallulah Ruby They're coming in ahead of us, and they are picking their spot right now.
From see you, do you read me? Over.
So that's the anchoring area. Not sure how protected it's going to be in terms of swell, but hopefully somewhat protected otherwise. So we have to say it's been a while since we've seen such pretty islands and such beautifully clear water. I can't wait to go for a swim. So this is our first daylight view of the island of Uligamu in the Maldives. There's all the yachts at anchor, and as we come round, Kandiba is in the distance, and they have a little boat harbour here, which is actually very nice. We'll leave the dinghy. There's a few locals out early this morning getting their taxi rides, water taxi rides to wherever they're going. And then as we pan round, you can see the little beachfront, and it's all very neat and tidy, clean. And we come around, and there is the rest of the coast. Well, we come down to the beach, and the last time we saw this many hermit crabs was in Saguaro. As I pan round, you'll see that every shell seems to have a crab in it. All out for their morning walk. This is one of the residential streets, and there's one of the ladies out sweeping up leaves. It's all very quiet since early in the morning. So here's another aspect of the residential area, and I find their seats absolutely fascinating. Here's one down, basically rope and wood. If I pan round, everybody's out cleaning the front of their houses. I zoom in, there's another seat that's been put up against the wall for now. And as I come round, there's the little store that we're visiting right now. So here's a very entrepreneurial individual, a creative individual, using plastic bottles as a screen for his front porch. So one of the things we've been very surprised about is how dense the vegetation is on this island. I mean, it's basically all beach sand. It's staggering that this flora actually can grow here, but beautiful nonetheless. So it's the 1st of February and we've all been invited ashore for a dinner to taste the local food. Looks like it's going to be some sort of a beach barbecue or some sort, so looking forward to it.
Onions, I don't know how they make it, but I know it's potato curry. And this is banana curry. And this is a leaf salad. Normally we eat this for the breakfast. And
Which one, the breakfast? Yes.
here's same,
Yeah.
okay. And this is egg curry with Indian style. I mean, with Maldivian curry powder. So they grind onions, garlic, different types of leaves, and make curry powder. And so by using that, they make this egg curry. And here is dal, and this is like a fried rice, but it's in Maldivian style. And this is a dal curry, and this is we call potato.